Storytelling is, above all else, the most powerful skill you can possess when it comes to building a business, establishing a brand, and attracting a flood of customers. Stories are incredibly powerful because they resonate deeply with our brains. A compelling story connects us on an emotional level and endures longer in people's minds. You can't argue with a good story. It just sticks. People are drawn to brands with authentic stories rather than faceless companies. Sharing a story behind your brand is more crucial than ever. Whether it's your daily routines, behind the scenes moments, or the realness of your journey, authenticity builds trust. Think about the brands you admire. It's their story that makes them stand out in a crowded market. Steve Jobs understood this better than anyone else. He didn't just create products, he crafted narratives. The iPhone wasn't just a phone, it was a start of a revolution in how we connect with the world. Jobs told a story about how it would simplify and enhance daily life, blending a phone, music player, and web browser into one. Stories transform the ordinary into the extraordinary and foster a genuine connection with your audience. Hey, if you're new here, I'm Rashid. I'm a growth marketer with 8+ years skin in the marketing game, and in this video, I'm teaching you about storytelling. In all honesty, I was on a quest to find straightforward ways to craft a compelling story. I knew how powerful it was, but didn't know how to structure it. I came across a few good insights here and there, but what I realized is that many people discuss storytelling, they often don't provide the right steps. So here are the steps to become a great storyteller from my research and actually doing it in the real world. Storytelling is often discussed, but no one tells you the actual steps. So that's why I'm here to do today. Whether you're trying to attract talent to your team, or to get people to buy your products or services, mastering storytelling is so crucial. So for starters, it begins with one simple thing: writing clearly. This is part one. Clear writing equals clear thinking. To tell great stories, you need to become a good writer. Why? Because a good writer is a clear thinker. When you sit down and to write something, whether it's ad copy, landing page copy, a job ad, you're forced to crystallize your thoughts. You have to organize them in a way that makes sense, which brings us to clarity. A good tool I like to use is the Hemingway app. It simplifies your writing and ensures communicating at a level that everyone can understand. So, fun fact, some of the best storytellers, whether they are the best-selling authors, YouTubers, or world leaders, they all speak and write at a 6th grade level. Sounds simple, but the goal isn't to alienate people with overcomplicated language. The clearer your message, the more people will resonate with it. So this leads to part 2, which is master communication. So with that said, storytelling isn't just about writing, it's about communication. And you need to practice this skill consistently. You'll be communicating your entire life, whether it's in business, personal, relationships, or social settings. Set aside time every week to improve your communication skills. Like any skill, storytelling can be learned and enhanced. Which leads to part 3 of this section, which is the power of hooks and framing. Here's where storytelling really takes off. So with hooks and framing, it grabs your audience's attention. If your hook is weak, it doesn't matter how well written and thought out the rest of your story is. People won't pay attention. A strong hook is worth 1,000 perfectly crafted sentences. Spend a disproportionate amount of time on your hooks, because if you can't hook someone, it doesn't matter how good the rest of your content is. Be a student of the market. Look at what gets the most views on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and analyze their hooks. So you have a very small window to capture someone's attention. I'm talking milliseconds. If your title or the first lines of your text or video aren't engaging enough, they will already be scrolled past. Don't underestimate how difficult it is to write a good hook. So here are a few tips that really helped me. First, write the piece first, then take the most polarizing element and fashion that into a short, impactful hook. Another way is, if the topic is controversial, funny, weird, keep it simple and say it how it is. Another way is use a twist. In the first line or title, state the opposite of what you mean, then flip it around in the actual content itself. And now that you know how to write a good hook, part 4 of this section is content over delivery. Here's the truth about storytelling. What you say is infinitely more important than how you say it. Most people obsess over perfecting their phrasing, but forget that it's more important to say the right things. How do you find out what the right things are? Simple. Listen to your audience, read customer reviews, dive deep into communities on Reddit and other community platforms, scroll through YouTube comments, and see what people are saying. The best storytellers tap into the pain points and desires of their audience. When you speak directly to those needs, your words hit like lightning. Once you've nailed down what you're saying, then focus on how to say it. It's the most impactful way. Once you're sure that you're saying the right things, then think about how to best present it in the best way possible. Now that you've nailed clear writing and communication, it's time to elevate your storytelling game. It's not just about the basics anymore, what I've just covered. It's about turning your stories into powerful, engaging experiences. Think about it as transforming your words from a blueprint into a vivid, dynamic narrative. Let's dive into the art of crafting stories that resonate. Just a quick one, before I dive in, be sure to like and subscribe, as it will really help me get my content out there. Would really appreciate it. Cool, let's go into this. So now that I covered the basics, let's talk about the ways to frame it in marketing. So storytelling plus defensible arguments equals great messaging and positioning. For thousands of years, we've communicated through stories, something that has a beginning, middle, and end, describing what someone goes through. I've been also diving into fiction books lately and noticed that many of the highly recommended books that are part of a series, think Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings, what makes these books compelling isn't just the plot, but the characters. The depth of character building and world building draws in readers. Each book in a different series may tell a different story, but people keep coming back because they care about the characters. So if you're crafting a story, take a page from these fiction books and series and focus on developing your characters. Make them real, make them relatable, and your audience will be hooked. Another framework, and this is called the hero's journey. The call to adventure, so the hero to be takes control of their direction of their life to discover their true potential, often leaving their hometown. For example, think of Luke Skywalker abandoning Tatooine in Star Wars. Part of this hero journey is struggle, revelation, and transformation. So the hero battles internal and external demons, gaining new knowledge and experience. We call Bruce Wayne's journey Far From Gotham. Then the final part of the hero's journey is return. So the hero returns home, demonstrating their heroism to those who have never heard the call. For example, Bilbo and Frodo Baggins fit that mold from Lord of the Rings. So in marketing, this translates to the following. First, it is describing the pains and problems your customer experience. Then you're painting a picture of a better world and let them dream about what life would be like without those problems. Then you're showing how your product or service helps fix those issues with unique features that turn their dreams into reality. The problem with most marketing copy isn't that it doesn't explain the product or service, is that it doesn't explain who it's for and why they should care. So now that we've talked about crafting killer characters and immersive worlds, but here's the game changer. Your story needs to pack a little punch. It's not just about being good, it's about being unforgettable. In storytelling, it's the fine details and those wow moments that turn an average story into something that people can't stop talking about. Let's break down the 7 storytelling techniques that will make your audience lean in, hang on every word, and eagerly await to what comes next. First is get to the point. If you can't summarize the message of the story in 10 words or less, you don't have a clear message. And without a clear message, you don't have a story. Think of the story as gift wrapped and the message as the gift. Start with the gift, your message, then build the wrap, the story, around it. If the story doesn't fit the message, you lose your audience. Number 2 is be relatable. Here's where people get things wrong. People don't need extraordinary tales to connect with you. You don't need to climb Everest or survive a disaster to tell a story that resonates. The more everyday your stories are, the more relatable they become. Relatability builds a connection. It's not just about being special, but being similar to your audience. Number 3 is embrace the pain. In storytelling, especially in sales, don't skip to the solution. Like in a movie, a story without a conflict isn't engaging. The more you reveal the challenges and the struggles, the greater the audience values the solution. Share your pain for their gain. It makes the story more impactful and the solution more credible. Which leads to number 4, make it visual. Great storytelling is more than just listing events. Bring your audience into the moment. Use imagery, dialogue, and sensory language to make them feel like they're right there with you. Phrases like, if you were there, or imagine this, help your audience to visualize the scene. People remember pictures, not fact. Number 5 is begin in the action. Too many people start their stories by setting the scene, but nobody owes you their attention. You must grab it immediately. Dive into the good stuff and chuck people into the deep end, then swing them back once you have them hooked. Here's an example. How the hell did I get here? It's June and I just let 6 months pass when I said I'm getting the hell out of here. So that's a cool example, top of my mind. Number 6 is paint a picture of the scene. The less specific you are, the blurrier the picture, the less emotionally connected someone is. A great story transports people to the tale. If you do not have specific details, there's no way for the listener and the reader to anchor what they're seeing and what you're telling. So a good story teleports the reader or listener to the scene. People don't care about stories they can't see. Use times, dates, senses, colors, emotions. Paint a picture of the scene. What you want to do here is just drop the specific details, but not too many. It can be a little thing. For example, we sat on the small dinner table, squeezed in the little kitchen. Now you know it's a small house. Those little things really do make a difference. Number 7 is use the but and therefore rule. Bad storytelling focuses on the logical sequence of events. This happens, and then this happens, and then this happened. It's boring. So you need to have a flow, right? Swap and then with but or therefore and see how much exciting your story becomes. Number 8 is control the tempo. It's not just about what you say, but how you say it. Most people think excellent storytelling is about the words you use, the story you tell, but so much of it is about the delivery as well. Understand the importance of rhythm, tempo, and pauses, these silences, the 2 to 3 second gaps. During peak intense parts, use short, bold sentences to keep people engrossed. Pause at important moments and then slow back again with longer sentences. Number 9 is have an enemy. Work out what the enemy is, because an enemy brings your audience to your side. It gets them emotionally invested in the story. It triggers us versus them and increases the stakes, making people more invested in the outcome. So create conflict and personify the cause. The enemy doesn't have to be a person. Most often, it's not. A story without a villain is no story at all. You can personify an enemy. For example, I don't like my job versus every day I turn up to work, a little piece of me dies inside. My 9 to 5 is slowly killing my ambitions and making me too comfortable. And I knew I had to escape its grasps by the end of the year and chase my calling. See, from that example, it just has a nicer ring. So always think about who the enemy is and what is the thing causing the conflict. And once you find that, build a story around it. And lastly, number 10, leave a lesson. We listen to stories to learn. So no story should be made without a point. We listen to stories to learn from other people's experiences. It's so much easier than learning ourselves. When there's no lesson or takeaway, it's like an incomplete story. Sometimes it helps to work backwards from the big idea or main point. Other times, you'll discover the big idea as you write. Build a reputation for being useful, not just interesting. Being useful never goes out of fashion, so always think, what is my point? I said 10, but I'm going to give you one more. Here's a bonus, which is curiosity. Great stories are masters of the tease. To keep attention, you must open loops. This is why your favorite shows finish on a cliffhanger. So drop hints early in your stories, then move the story along. Just make sure you close the loop later, as no one enjoys an incomplete story. So there you have it. That's my insights from my experience, from learning and then implementing that in the real world. To recap, what we covered is the essentials of clear writing, effective communication, and advanced storytelling techniques. Remember, the heart of great storytelling lies in deeply connecting with your audience. Make your stories memorable and impactful, as stories are the currency of marketing. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.